Have you ever felt like you're just waiting for the weekend to arrive? Like your whole life boils down to paying bills that never end? Stuck in a cycle that consumes your energy, your youth, and your dreams? Imagine waking up every day with a weight on your chest. That feeling that something is terribly wrong, but you can't quite identify what it is. You look out the window and see concrete. You hear sirens. You smell the smoke. And you ask yourself if this is all life has to offer. And what if I told you that this feeling of suffocation isn't an accident? That it was designed to keep you exactly where you are? Jake Harlan felt this in his bones. He was at the top of a 22-story building, but he felt like he was at the bottom of a well. What would you do if you had the chance to leave it all behind? Would you have Jake's courage? Or would the fear of losing the little you have paralyze you? His story isn't a fairy tale. It's a brutal warning about the price of freedom. Jake was a regular guy, born on the south side of Chicago, the son of steelworkers who melted their health away in the mills. He grew up hearing that success meant working hard, buying a house, and retiring tired. He did everything right. He followed the manual. At 30, he had the office job, the wife, the kids, and the mortgage department. But inside, he was dying. Do you know that feeling? That moment when you're in a meeting or stuck in traffic and you want to scream, but you swallow it down because you need the paycheck. Jake lived that every day. The big city, sold in movies as the place of opportunity, had turned into an open-air prison for him. The noise never stopped. The notifications on his phone were like invisible chains pulling at his attention every minute. The turning point didn't happen in a moment of joy. It happened in a moment of pure terror and discomfort. It was during an unbearable heat wave. Chicago was melting. The AC died. The neighborhood power went out, and the apartment turned into an oven. His son was crying from the heat, fever, and irritation. His wife, exhausted, stared into nothingness. Jake looked at that scene, in the dark, sweating, and realized that he was vulnerable. If the system failed for just one day, his life would crumble. Have you ever stopped to think about how fragile your routine is? If the electricity goes out, if the water stops running, how long do you last in your city apartment? That question haunted Jake that night. He realized he wasn't free. He was a hostage to comfort. And hostages don't have choices. The decision to leave wasn't pretty. It wasn't like in the movies where the hero smiles and rides off into the sunset. It was a decision loaded with fear. Imagine having to sell everything you've built. Jake loved vintage cars. He had a collection of Mustangs that was his pride and joy. They were the physical proof of his success. But to buy freedom, he needed to sell his identity. Could you let go of the symbol of your status to seek something no one can see, but only feel?
Spreadsheets, budget cuts, sleepless nights. They aimed north, far from everything, where winter punishes and nature doesn't forgive. They were trading the comfort of the couch for the uncertainty of the forest. When they told friends and family, they were called crazy. You're going to freeze. What about the kids' school? You're going to throw your career in the trash. The system doesn't like it when someone tries to leave. People around you, often unintentionally, try to pull you back because your freedom offends their prison. Jake heard it all. Fear knocked on his door every night. What if it went wrong? What if he was condemning his family to misery? But the fear of continuing in that artificial life, where time slipped through his fingers without meaning, was greater. What scares you more? The risk of trying something new or the certainty that nothing will change in the next 10 years. The move was brutal. They packed their life into a pickup truck and a borrowed trailer. No fancy moving truck. It was all muscle. As they left the city, watching the buildings fade into the rearview mirror, Jake felt a knot in his stomach. It wasn't immediate joy. It was vertigo. They were going to the middle of nowhere in Michigan to live in a trailer while they built a house with their own hands. No experience, no contractor, no safety net. The first night in the forest was a shock. The silence. Have you ever heard real silence? The kind where there is no hum of electricity, no cars, no voices? It's deafening. For someone coming from the city, the silence of the forest feels like it's watching you. And it was. Reality hit hard. It didn't take long for the romanticization of country life to end and the struggle for survival to begin. Water didn't come from the magic tap of the water company. It had to be collected, filtered, cared for. The bathroom? A composting system they had to manage themselves. In the beginning, it seemed like a terrible mistake. The kids complained. They wanted fast internet, games, friends. Lisa, his wife, looked at the pile of dirty dishes and the lack of hot water and cried in secret. Jake questioned if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. How many times do we give up right at the start because the discomfort is too great? The matrix is comfortable. It gives you everything in hand in exchange for your soul. Freedom charges its price in sweat. Winter arrived like a monster. Snow that covered the waist. The cold entered through the cracks in the trailer like knives. Jake woke up at 5 in the morning, not to beat traffic, but to ensure his family didn't freeze. Chopping wood wasn't a gym exercise. It was a matter of life or death. If he didn't chop, they didn't get warm. Simple as that. The responsibility was direct. There was no one to call, no landlord to complain to. Once a bear invaded their area, rummaging through the trash, just meters from where the kids slept. Jake's heart almost stopped.
Right there, he understood that nature doesn't care about you. It respects you if you are strong, or it consumes you if you are weak. Are you prepared to take total responsibility for your safety? But something began to change. In the midst of that brutal effort, Jake's brain fog began to lift. He realized the tiredness he felt at night was different. In Chicago, he came home mentally drained, stressed, unhappy. In the forest, he arrived physically destroyed, muscles burning, but his mind was clear. He slept like a rock. The chronic anxiety, the kind that made him bite his nails and have insomnia in the city, disappeared. Why do we feel so anxious in the modern city? Were we made to live in stacked concrete boxes, far from the earth, eating processed food? Jake's body was responding to the ancient call of manual labor and contact with the land. The kids changed too. At first, screen withdrawal was hard, but the forest is an infinite playground. They started building forts, identifying animal tracks, helping in the garden. The youngest son, who was always sick and pale in the apartment, gained color, gained strength. They stopped fighting over nonsense. The family, which before lived under the same roof but separated by screens and rooms, now needed to work as a team to keep everything running. The connection deepened. Do you feel like you really know the people you live with, or are you just roommates splitting bills? Hardship united Jake's family in a way no vacation at Disney ever could. Financially, magic happened. Without the absurd mortgage, without the expensive dinners to compensate for the day's frustration, without the need for brand-name clothes to impress coworkers he didn't even like, money stopped being an urgent problem. They lived on a fraction of what they spent in the city, but they ate better. Eggs from the backyard chickens, vegetables from the garden, fish from the river. Jake continued working remotely a few hours a week thanks to satellite internet. But now he worked to live. He didn't live to work. The reversal of values was total. How much of your salary today goes to pay for things you only need because you work so much? It's a vicious cycle. You work to pay for the car you use to go to work, and the clothes you use to work, and the fast food you eat because you are working. Jake broke that cycle. 5 years passed. The land that was just brush now has a solid house, built with local wood, solar energy, and a productive garden. Jake looks at his hands, now calloused and rough, and feels pride. He isn't the stressed logistics manager anymore. He is a man who knows how to build, plant, hunt, and protect. He looks at the fire at night and sees the stars, not those few that the city's light pollution lets through, but an infinite cloak of lights. He feels small, but at the same time, part of something giant. The city still exists far away, with its deadlines, its crises, and its collective hysteria. But it doesn't touch him anymore. He got out of the game. What Jake discovered is that the Matrix isn't just an economic system. It's a mental system. It convinces you that you need things you don't need. It convinces you that fear is bad, when in fact, fear is a sign that you are alive and facing real challenges. It convinces you that comfort is the ultimate goal of life. But excessive comfort makes us weak, sick, and depressed. Real happiness, the kind that Jake found in the middle of the cold and hard work, comes from competence, autonomy, and real connection with the physical world. Would you be able to find happiness in extreme simplicity? Or has the addiction to novelty and consumption already corrupted your ability to appreciate the basics? Many look at Jake's story and think, I could never do that. And that is exactly what the system wants you to think. That you are incapable. That you need the experts, the corporations, and the government to survive. But the truth is, inside you, there is the same instinct that existed in your grandparents and great-grandparents. Human adaptability is incredible, but it is dormant, atrophied by the excess of conveniences. Jake is not a Superman. He was a regular guy, full of debts and fears, who decided that the pain of staying was greater than the pain of leaving. What is your limit? What would need to happen in your life for you to say enough? Jake's freedom tastes like strong coffee made on a wood stove on a freezing morning. It has the smell of pine and wet earth. It has the sight of his children growing up strong and independent without the brainwashing of unreasonable consumerism. He didn't just escape a city. He escaped a mindset of scarcity and fear.
He realized that the security the city promises is an illusion, a layoff, an economic crisis, a pandemic, and all that security evaporates. In the forest, security comes from the woodpile you chopped, the food you preserved, the skills you learned. No one can take that away from you. It is real, tangible security, built with your own hands. But make no mistake, the forest charges a price. The isolation is real. Sometimes the longing for convenience hits, the desire to order a pizza and not have to cook, the desire to go to the movies. But when Jake puts the pizza against peace of mind on the scale, peace wins every time. He learned to find entertainment in observing nature, in reading, in conversation with his wife. His mind slowed down. He is no longer in a hurry. In the city, we are always running to the next moment, ignoring the now. In the forest, the now is all that exists. If you don't pay attention to the now, you hurt yourself with the chainsaw or let the fire go out. This forced mindfulness is the best therapy there is. Today, Jake sees the news of the world, Wars, economic collapses, political hysteria. He sees it like someone watching a distant horror movie. He doesn't participate in that anymore. He created his own reality, his own rules. He built an ark before the flood. And the question that keeps hammering in the head of anyone who hears his story is, why do we continue participating in a game where the rules are made for us to lose? Why do we continue trading our lifetime, which is the most precious and finite resource we have, for numbers on a bank screen that can disappear? Jake's story is a mirror. If you look closely at it, you will see the bars of your own prison. Maybe you don't need to move to a cabin in the woods to be free. Maybe your forest is paying off your debts, simplifying your life, decreasing dependence on social media. The lesson Jake leaves isn't geographic, it's philosophical. It's about taking control. It's about stopping outsourcing your survival and your happiness. It's about understanding that urban chaos is optional, even if it seems mandatory. You have the power to say no. Say no to unpaid overtime. Say no to consumption that only serves to impress others. Say no to life on autopilot. The cell door is open, but you need to have the courage to walk through it. Imagine for a moment your life 10 years from now if you change nothing. The same commute, the same office, the same complaints. Only you will be older, more tired, and with less time. Does that image scare you? It should. The fear of regret must be greater than the fear of change. Jake looked at that dark future and ran in the opposite direction. He chose the discomfort of growth instead of the comfort of stagnation. And in the end, when he lays his head on the pillow and hears the wind howling outside, he knows he is alive. He knows that every callus on his hand has a story, that every wrinkle on his face came from real smiles or real worries, not from artificial corporate stress. The system tries to convince us that life outside of it is dangerous, wild, and impossible. They show the failures, never the successes. They want you to be afraid of the dark, afraid of silence, afraid of solitude, because a scared person is an obedient person. Jake stopped obeying. He embraced the danger of living life on his own terms, and he discovered that the real danger was spending a whole life sleeping, anesthetized, waiting for a retirement that might never come. Life is now. The forest whispers this all the time. The seasons change, time passes, and nature waits for no one. Have you ever asked yourself what you would do if you weren't afraid? If money wasn't the main concern? If the neighbor's opinion didn't matter? Jake Harlan answered these questions with actions, not words. He shows us that the exit door from the matrix exists. It is heavy, hard to open, and the path on the other side is steep and full of rocks. But the air out there is pure, the water is clean, and the feeling of being the master of your own destiny is something no money in the world can buy. The final question isn't whether you can do what Jake did. The question is, how much of your life are you willing to sell before you realize the price is too high? The escape begins in the mind. The first step to leaving the system is realizing you are in it. And then it is having the courage to take the first step toward the unknown. The forest is calling. Will you answer, or will you continue pretending you don't hear?